All right, on this episode of the LPDS, we get into some celebrity passings. We get into Yankees updates. We get into Epstein updates. We get into South Park updates. We get into Happy Gilmore updates. Tons of stuff to go over. Chaotic week once again in the world. We're going to talk about it. All that plus a cage fact coming up right now. All right, Jabronis, we're back. Welcome back to the Libretti Podcast Diary Show. I'm your host, Libretti. It's a show that talks about nothing but tries to find the lessons in everything, and we have a good time doing it. Hope everybody had a good week. A lot happened in the world this week. We're going to try to talk about it a little bit. We're going to try to have a good time doing it. If you have anything of interest from your life you want to bring up, or you have questions that you want to find updates on the LPDS universe that I haven't brought up in a while, feel free to hit that hotline 202-670-1114. Really haven't had a hotline call in a while, so I always miss those. I always look forward to those, and maybe we'll get some more someday soon. So anyway, um, we got a lot of stuff going on. I'm gonna plow through it, so to speak, as quick as possible. But there's some things that I want to hit, and also maybe bring some levity to some situations. S Specifically, we had a lot of celebrity passings this week. We're going to talk about the big one in the Junction, obviously, but again, for levity's sake, uh, excuse me, if you haven't been paying attention. Malcolm Jamal Warner passed away recently. He was Theo Huxtable in The Cosby Show. Uh, Good show. Say what you want about Cosby himself. We're not talking about that, but he played a good part. He was a good actor. Never heard any issues about him whatsoever. He apparently died in a drowning. I think he got caught in some riptide, some undertow at the beach. He was on vacation with his family, and that's sad. And he got caught in a bad riptide. I guess that's what they said, and drowned. That's sad for the family and them. I don't have much of an emotional tie to him like I do some other celebrities, and like other people do with celebrities. But it was sad to see. It's one of those things where it's like you just find out like a good person just passed on. It's just kind of a bummer. But some I don't know if it was a gossip column or a purposeful troll job or an accidental troll job or what, but somebody posted their headline about Malcolm Jamal Warner's passing, and the photo they used was of Jaleel White, who played Urkel in Family Matters. Now, again, it could have been it probably was a troll job, but and if it was done on purpose, it's maybe you can call it below the belt. It still was funny, especially to see the comments of people up in arms about it. It was, it was it was just funny to see that these were two prominent characters in that time frame. I think the Cosby Show started before Family Matters, but when it came to the late 80s, early 90s era of sitcoms and family sitcoms, these were very prominent. The Cosby Show was a lot of people's examples of a of a successful black family in that era. They were role models per se, and Family Matters too, in a different light. It was a little different style of comedy. It was a little bit more blue collar in the sense that the main character was not a doctor like Cliff Huxtable was in the Cosby Show. So it was a different style of family issues and family dynamic that people can also relate to. So on one hand, on one hand, on paper, it could have been an easy mistake. On the other hand, it could be considered, racially insensitive. On the third hand, the hand I choose to accept is that it was just humorous. It was stupid humor, and again, kind of you can use it for levity's sake of the situation, and not so much like, oh, you're being insensitive, you're being a prejudiced, racist, whatever you want to call it. I just saw it as uh, two very prominent supporting role characters in two very successful sitcoms back in the same era, and it was just funny that they used Urkel as as a character. It was just that part was funny. I don't condone racial insensitivity of any kind, though. So I can empathize with the people who might have taken offense in that regard. At the end of the day, though, uh, for stuff like this, you can easily choose not to be offended. There's so anyway, whatever. I just thought it was funny that they threw up Jaleel White. I don't know if he commented on it saying, hey, that's not me. Who knows? But funny all the same. They did something similar. We'll talk about it at the Jabroni Junction. But anyway, we'll just move on. Rest in power to Malcolm Jamal Warner. Ozzy Osbourne also passed away. Ozzy, you know, good music if you like that style of music. Also, he made, an even bigger hit for his family when they had the Osbournes, the reality TV show. A lot of people know him from that show, and not so much the fact that he was, a rock legend, metal legend. I don't know what kind of I don't know the specific style. It wasn't screamo, but he's a rock legend. Black Sabbath, Ozzy, Hall of Famer. So rest in power, Ozman. I think he passed from Parkinson's, difficulty from Parkinson's, and what have you. So, all right, moving on from the death for a little bit. We'll talk about more of a figurative death. The Yankees are in shambles. I'm not going to get too much into it, but the Yankees are in shambles, and I think the only quote unquote big move that Brian Cashman has made is he I don't know if he even traded. He got some third baseman. I forgot the dude's name. Creature will probably know more about it than I do about this player and the situation. I didn't look too much into it. I think he's batting like 217, 220 or something. And now again, I'm trying to maintain a positive outlook on this because when I see another batter batting under 250, I want to strangle Cashman. I want him fired immediately. And I still do, but on the other hand, batting 220 is still 70 points higher than what your current third baseman on the Yankees has been batting. Peraza has been a nightmare. And I like Peraza, but he's been an absolute poopy out there, batting like 150. The guy stinks. So again, positive spin on it. You just got a third baseman who's now batting 50 points higher than your previous third baseman. That's a lot. Unfortunately, your previous third baseman was batting so low below his weight that 50 points higher doesn't even make a dent as far as actually improving the team. The team still stinks. Volpe still stinks. Jazz Chisholm still stinks. And I hate to say it too, and I know a lot of Yankee fans don't want to hear it, but Aaron Judge stinks right now too. And he's their only savior. Bellinger stinks. Dominguez stinks. Goldschmidt, I haven't heard much about. Probably good for him then. He's probably doing what, not so terrible. I don't know. I haven't been watching the games recently. I've been doing a lot of work lately at night when the games are on, so I haven't been paying attention too much in that regard. But brutal. And then Aaron Boone, of course, triple stinks because he keeps defending them like they're a World Series contending team, and they're just not. They're not even close. And once again, I always go back to you can hold your team members, your players accountable in interviews and in the locker room without throwing them under the bus. So when people ask questions like, hey, Volpe's got the most errors in the infield in the league. The most errors in the league. Aaron Boone, you don't have to say, "Oh yeah, he's still the best out there." Only if he 3 or 4 errors are actually plays that he makes, he's Gold Glove caliber again. First of all, that's not true. That's not true at all. And the only reason why he won that Gold Glove the first time in the first place is because the other shortstop, was it Wander Franco or whatever, the guy who actually earned the accolade, has been busted for under relationship with a minor. So like Volpe, the only reason why you got that fake reward is because the other guy is a slimy pedophile piece of shit. That's it. Now you don't have to say that, Aaron. I'm not expecting you to say that you think Volpe stinks and he's garbage. You don't throw your team members under the bus. You don't throw your players under the bus like that. But you can hold accountability. You don't have to lie. Like, that was such a blatant lie and such bullshit. Oh, yeah, 3 or 4 errors go the other way, and he's Gold Glove caliber. No. Second of all, he's got like 20 errors. Okay, 3 or 4 is nothing with his numbers. He's got more errors than hits. You can say something like, yeah, he's struggling right now all around. We're trying to work through it. When you're in a slump at the plate, things start to spill over in the field, and we're working on him. He's a tough, hard-nosed guy. He tries hard. He's an absolute athlete and a competitor, and he's going to get through this. We're there with him, working on him and making sure to help him get through this. All players go through slumps like this. It happens. This is a normal thing. And I'm not really dogging on Volpe in that regard. But he does need to build a little bit more mental resilience because this has happened every year now. The wheels start falling off and it spills over into every aspect. But you can defend him and still hold him accountable and still acknowledge the fact that he's stinking up the joint. So it's just frustrating all around. We'll see how this... I can't believe I forgot the name of this guy that they got. Maybe they'll get more by the time this episode. Who knows? But according to Cashman, all these big moves he said he was planning on making, whenever we talked about, I'm making big moves. He's done shit. He's done ugats. As Tony Soprano says, I've been on a real Sopranos kick because of Creature. Creature got me back on it. I'm running through for like my 5th time now. Anyway, he's done nothing. Nothing. And again, how many more years do we have to listen to the same song and dance from that guy lying to our faces? Unfortunately, we have so many stupid Yankee fans that just buy into it, hook, line, and sinker every time. Oh, the Cashman's got it. We're going to do it. We got it this time. We don't got anything. Okay? Don't be surprised when the Yankees don't win a championship again this year. In fact, I wouldn't even be surprised if they go quietly into the night if they make the playoffs. They are not a good team. They haven't worked at all on fundamentals. They're making errors all over the place. They can't hit anything. They're just not a fundamentally sound team whatsoever. And they're full of mental midgets now who can't get out of their own head. Like, what does their coaching staff do? Their hitting coaches, their fielding coaches. Do they have any sort of like leadership coaches? In fact, I emailed the head of their medical training department last year. I did. From Spearhead Leadership. I emailed the guy back when they had, what's his face? Clay Holmes. Getting 55 blown saves. And they didn't know what to do. I emailed them and said, hey, listen, I can help solve this. This is a mental situation here we got going on. You're not preparing your team mentally. You're not training them mentally. You're not doing anything to actually prepare them to win baseball games and compete. And a lot of it is mental, and I can help with that. Now, I didn't say it that crass. I tried to open the door for a conversation. The guy didn't even read the email. I sent it on LinkedIn. It still hasn't shown read yet. He's probably busy applying for other jobs because he should be getting canned any day now. So, still waiting for big moves from Cashman. Still waiting for the team to figure it out. Still waiting for them to do something about Aaron Boone. There's a whole mess going on over there. So I hope this new third baseman, does something. He can't be much worse than what they have out there. So I guess that's a good thing. Anyway, we'll move on. Very quick, very quick Epstein update because I want to keep a record of this in writing in perpetuity somewhere to remind people when anytime if it's ever all said and done that we never shied, we never ran from this. But apparently Ghislaine Maxwell has been talking to the DOJ for a couple days now. I don't know what she has said. I don't know what they asked. I don't know what's going on with that. They haven't released anything. The media is awfully quiet about it. So if when that happens, that's when people should start asking questions. Awfully quiet about it. I'm not going to speculate anything anymore. We've talked about it ad nauseum. I have my theories. I'll keep them to myself for now as I continue to do my own recon and investigative journalism here at the LPDS. But she's talking to the DOJ, so we'll see what happens. If I were the presidential administration or the Department of Justice or the corrections facility that she's at, I would be damn sure that I put an arsenal of guards and protective services around her because let me tell you something. If she winds up in the same, death scenario as her pal Jeffy, there is no way they're going to be able to cover that up. If she quote unquote offs herself, there's no way anybody's believing that. No chance. So they better protect her. They better make it public because all eyes are on her now. So if they try to pull that same crap again, talk about chaos. Talk about chaos. There's a whole lot of chaos going on in the political world right now that I'm not going to get into. There are updates on that whole Obama situation, but again, I'm not going to get into it. It's everything is really at its like boiling point here. So I guess stay tuned. Anyway, speaking of politics, South Park had its latest season start, season 27. They've been doing it for a long time. 27th season, episode 1, and they also made a huge deal with Paramount. I think it was like $1.5 billion deal over 3 years or something like that, which is a crazy deal for streaming rights and I don't know what else. But they had their first episode and it was basically dogging on Trump the whole time, which I don't like. Here's the thing, what politics and jokes and stuff like this. SNL, all the comedy shows, the night show, the Tonight shows, all that stuff. If it's funny, I'm here for it. I don't care if it's really true or not. It's, this is a cartoon we're talking about here. If it's funny, I'm here for it. I don't consider it like I'm not sitting there thinking like, oh, the South Park writers are anti-Trump now and they're going to start seeping in their political opinions and this and that. They've been doing this forever. So the super MAGAs out there that are pissed about it, I'm sure Trumpy Bear, if he hasn't said anything, he'll probably fire off a couple of Truth Social tweets asking them to ban, demanding that they shut down South Park, which is never going to happen. So for all those the super magas, like it's jokes. Yeah, a lot of it was not true. A lot of it was over exaggeration to play into the jokes, but it was funny. Okay, it wasn't the funniest, but it was still funny and enjoyable and entertaining to watch. From the stupid fact that it was like one of the scenes in the show is he's dating Satan. Like, and they're in bed together. Like this shit, it's a cartoon. So to get up in arms about the cartoon is like, what are you doing to yourselves? And then they got the other side, the anti-Trumpies, that that deranged group as well. They're all deranged. They're all like, "Oh, South, have you seen the episode? It's the funniest one I've ever seen ever in the history of South Park." Like, no, it wasn't. They've been out for 27 seasons. There are many, many more funnier episodes than that one. But because it was against Trumpy Bear, they loved it. They didn't say a word when they were making fun of COVID and PC principle and all that, the woke stuff. They were awfully quiet about South Park then. In fact, there were people out there demanding South Park be shut down, if you remember, a couple years ago. But now, oh, it's anti-Trump, so they're good guys again. This was the funniest you've ever seen. It was funny. Let's relax. It's a cartoon. And if you don't like South Park, then this doesn't affect you at all. You could go about your day. I like South Park. I've always watched it. I always liked it, even when they make jokes at stuff that I, support or whatever. They made fun of everybody. At some point, there is going to be a topic that is a little closer and near and dearer to your heart. But again, if it's to me, as long as it's funny, I'm here for the laughs. If you make the joke funny, I'll laugh at it. I don't think SNL is funny, not because they've been obsessed with anti-Trump crap forever. I don't like SNL because they're not funny. I think they stink. The past like 15 years, they've been absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. And you hear the stories of all the funny skits that they scrap at the hands of their narratives, whatever they are. They don't want to make waves. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that, whatever. You hear the story. They stink. Those night shows, those Tonight type era shows or whatever, I don't like them because they're not funny. They stink. If I see a clip, if someone sends me a clip and it's funny, I'll laugh at it. But overall, their comedy has not been good, and they're supposed to be comedy shows. So I'm here for the comedy. I'm not here for the politics. I'm not here for the narratives. I'm here for the comedy, and it's a cartoon. I like the fact that cartoons can make crap up, like having Satan be a real guy out in the world, interacting. They had Jesus in there. They have peepees and wee-wees hanging out everywhere. They have a whole series of a walking, talking piece of poop, Mr. Hanky. Like, this is a cartoon we're talking about here. It's not that serious on either side. So for the Crusaders on either side that hate it or love it so much, just relax. It's a cartoon, because by next week, they're going to flame you too. Okay? Whatever political agenda, whatever religious agenda you have, whatever narrative you want to push, they're going to come for that as well eventually, and then you're going to hate them again. And the circle's going to go round and round we go. So, to all those people up in arms, cool off. It's just a cartoon. To all those people who are ready to make them king and queen of the country, cool off. They're going to come for you very soon. So let's just relax. If you do like South Park, watch the episode. It was funny. It was a typical South Park episode. Funny, outrageous, no holds barred. Enjoy. Speaking of funny, moving on. Happy Gilmore 2 came out. Now, there no spoilies. I'm not giving any spoilers, even though I don't give a shit about that. The thing just came out. I'm a little bit more sympathetic to that window of the fact that the movie just came out on Netflix this week. I watched it the day it came out, and I very rarely do that. I did that because I like Adam. I'm biased towards Adam Sandler. I love his movies, even the ones that aren't great. They still are good for put them on in the background, quick chuckle, light-hearted, whatever. And I saw this movie. Now I have some thoughts on it. At the end of the day, nothing will ever be like no Happy Gilmore 2. You had to have known it would not been as good as Happy Gilmore 1. The OG was the best for a reason. Okay? And 99% of sequels are not better than the originals. So you have to understand that. I had no problem with the movie. I have new nitpicky things I can discuss about it. But again, it's an Adam Sandler movie. It's a 21st century Adam Sandler. It's if you like his stuff now, you'll like this. If you go in there expecting this to be better than the first one, you're probably not going to like it. And that's not saying it was a bad movie. Like I said, I enjoyed the movie. But it's out now on Netflix. If you like Adam Sandler, if you like the Happy Gilmore, it's more Happy Gilmore. That's it. So go check it out. It was like I said, I'm an Adam Sandler guy. So it was nice to see the trailer for it, the lead up. You see all these videos of them filming in New Jersey and stuff like that. So I enjoyed seeing that. I had some friends that went out to be extras in it, that tried out to be extras in it. So I love that stuff. Like it was a lot of nostalgia even in the lead up to that. And I like that. So, no spoilies. Anyway, now we can get into the good stuff. We're rolling through. This might actually be a quick one. I say that every single time. Let's get into the good stuff. Let's step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right. Today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by Primo's Prime Rib on a Stick. Maybe we've done this already. Are you a fat, gluttonous piece of garbage who can't control your food cravings even when you're on the go, but have no way of enjoying the finer things in life while you're working your route at Barone Sanitation? Well, now you can suck down a steak while picking up a bag of dirty diapers when you buy a Primo's Prime Rib on a Stick. Primo designed an all-new on-the-go system that brings you the finest cuts of prime rib right from the urban farms of Skid Row and cooks them on a handheld stick so that you can take your Michelin star-rated dinner with you anywhere you want, and you can even take it in the bathroom with you at another restaurant when you're hot stoving it. So, to get a box of Primo's Prime Rib on a Stick today, visit www.mediumrareroadies.com, and if you use the promo code FavaBeans, you get 29% off your first box of PROSDs, Prime Ribs on a Stick Daddies. We might have had Primo on before as a sponsor. I don't remember. It's all a blur. Anyway, the Cage Fact. We're all tracking Spider-Man Noir coming out soon. Well, in preparation for that, to sort of wet the beak a little bit of the fans of the Spidey universe, Marvel has reignited, reinvigorated, restarted the comic book series itself of Spider-Man Noir. Now, I don't know if they had a lot of Spider-Man Noir comics, like dedicated series to it. I don't know how many comic books there are for him specifically for that particular Spider-Man, but he was in the universe, and they're reigniting it. They have Eric Larson, who's I guess is a prolific writer. I don't know much about him. I heard the name before. I didn't do too much digging. I didn't care that much, but he is going to be starting up the series and putting out, I don't know, 4 or 5 of whatever comics of Spider-Man Noir specifically ahead of when the series is supposed to be put out on, what is it, Amazon Prime? I don't remember. I think it's Prime maybe, to kind of get the people going. And it's supposed to be, like the other, it's not a new thing where they're trying something new with a new character and a new storyline and all the, the weird stuff that has happened with comics lately. It's supposed to be like the original comics of old, the stuff that the people like, and in conjunction in line with the TV show itself to get people ready to rock and roll for the great one to come out in the live action Spider-Man Noir, Nic Cage. So I haven't read comic books in a long time. I wasn't a big on them even when I was a kid. I would catch them, random. I never read a full series of a comic book before. No, I'm not dogging on. I just never did it. I was always When I was younger, I was not a reader. Believe it or not, I was not a reader. I was just a humphead kid who liked to ride bikes with the killer peepees and hit jumps and get Slurpees at 7-Eleven and then go find some firecrackers and illegal fireworks and light them off in a park somewhere. And then act tough. Put a pack of fake cigarettes in my sleeve and pretend to smoke them like real cigarettes, even though they were straws that I cut and put in a box and rolled up in my sleeve. So I'm still excited for that. I might check them out. Anyway, that's the Cage fact. Move over to the Junction. Spin the logo up. We had a crushing blow to the LPDS universe, as I'm sure most of you have heard. Hulk Hogan has passed away at the age of 71. Now, if you have been living in a box for the past 5, 6 years, you won't know how much of a wrestling fan we are here at the LPDS. You won't know about the wrestling events that the Crusher and I have gone on multiple times in the last 5+ years. The promos we cut, the Guest of the Year belt that I should probably reset and get that going again, actually get guests again. Everything, there's so much, in the LPDS universe that's built around wrestling, WWE wrestling. And if you know wrestling, even if you didn't, that's the thing, even if you didn't know wrestling, you knew Hulk Hogan. He was wrestling. He was entertainment. And he was everything you can possibly throw into it. When you think of stereotypical quintessential American in the 80s, he started in the 70s, started in the mid to late 70s, and he went all the way up till the 2000s. But in the 80s, he was, that was where he was really, that's where he transformed wrestling. That's where he transformed wrestling into something bigger than wrestling itself. And you can credit there's a lot of other big names from that era. Ric Flair, Andre the Giant, Iron Sheik, all the Hart family. There are big names from that era of wrestling. The Rock's father. But he transformed that company. Those names would not be nearly as big. In fact, you could go back, a lot of you who were close to my age, maybe even young, maybe even older too, I don't know. A lot of us know guys like Andre the Giant from movies. from other things in wrestling. In fact, the first time I learned about Andre the Giant, the first time I was reminded, he was in Princess Bride. And then my dad was like, oh, yeah, he's a wrestler. I was like, oh, that's right. Hulk Hogan beat him to win the belt, WrestleMania 3. Forgot what year it was, but that's what it was. Oh, Ric Flair. Yeah, I know Ric Flair. He fights, he fights with Hogan, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior. I love that era of wrestling because it was America. It was Coke, steroids, greased up hard bodies, face paint, and there was just a bunch of big giant thugs getting after it in the ring and cutting incredible promos, unrivaled promos even. Some of them today you can still argue might be the best promos of all wrestling history. Although you got guys like The Rock who are incredible. Even LA Knight now is also good at promos. But these guys, they were hopped up on everything. But it all came back to Hogan. Everything came back to Hulk Hogan. Everybody knows him. Everybody outside of wrestling knows him. All the other wrestlers would tell you the same thing, even the ones who didn't like him. From the business side of the house, he was wrestling. Nobody would have done what they did in their careers without him paving the way, without turning WWF into a worldwide name. I mean, they're having pay-per-view events in Saudi Arabia now. None of that was happening without Hogan. There is no evolution of wrestling that would make it as big and as popular without him. Because he was already doing it back then. He was going over to China, Japan, Korea, wherever he was going, all over the world to do wrestling. And now Ric Flair was too, but he was actually, him and some other guys were actually more famous over there, and then eventually they got bigger here. Hogan was famous everywhere. And you can argue he was, the first wrestler that also became an actor, like a household name style actor. Now, like I said, Andre the Giant was in Princess Bride, and you got guys like The Rock now as big time. There's a lot of people out here now in this day and age that only know The Rock as an actor, which is cool. Same with John Cena, heel Cena. He's an actor. But Hogan was in a movie before he even became Hulkamania. Before it became a giant thing, he was in Rocky 3. Thunderlips. We talk about it all the time. Thunderlips. The Ultimate Man. Against the Ultimate Meatball. And he exploded from there. Now, I'm not going to take away from Hogan's accomplishments, but one can argue that if it wasn't for Stallone putting him in that movie, Hogan may not have become the phenom he did, because he did get a lot of eyeballs on him from that movie, and from there became worldwide. He became universal. Hulkamania is now immortal. So you can make that argument. We're not talking about that. I love Sly. We'll talk about that at a different time. But Hulk Hogan was everything. He was an actor. He did that movie like The Nanny or whatever. He did that show. It was like a movie and a show. It stunk, but it was awesome at the same time. Thunder in Paradise. I forgot. Maybe his name was Terry in the show. I don't remember. But I know Sting was in it. Sting was the bad guy, Hammerhead. And there was other, I think, wrestlers that popped in as well. And he played it was like a buddy cop style. I don't know if they were Private Eyes or it was like a Magnum PI kind of thing, except they had this awesome speedboat, this cigarette boat that they would transform into this mobile command center, this aqua command center. It would be a submarine, it'd be a boat, it'd be whatever. It was a stupid show, but it was awesome at the same time. And I know anybody who knows what I'm talking about, has seen that show, knows what I'm talking about. They know. The show stunk from the critic side of the house, but it was an awesome show. And he did it all. Hulkamania. He was the world's baby face. Study, do your homework, take your vitamin, whatever, like all that crap. And he took down Andre the Johnny. He picked him up and slammed him. Nobody was able to do that. And he did it. And then he what is the word I'm thinking of? He delivered the most famous heel turn of all time in sports history and soap opera history and entertainment history at Bash at the Beach when he came out to go protect Macho Man. Because remember, the Macho Man and him, they were enemies, and they came together. They combined forces. Remember, they were trying to shake hands, but the forces, they were so strong, and they shook hands with Mean Gene in the background, and they're all greased up, and they're dancing around, and the cream is rising to the top, and Hulkamania was running wild, brother. And then he comes out to protect Macho Man from Nash and the other, what the hell is his name? He just passed. He passed away a few years ago. God, I'm losing it here. I forgot his name too. Razor Ramon. I forgot his real name. But he comes out, he scares him out of the ring, and he sees Macho Man there. He's all hobbling because he got beat up by these guys. And then Hogan leg drops him and reveals that he is the third member of the NWO. He was the baby face of the world up until that point. It was no doubt in my mind the biggest heel turn in entertainment history. People were talking about Cena's recently. I talked about it here on this show recently, and now I like Cena because he's a heel. I liked it, but it does not compare to Hogan's. Hogan paved the way for shocking, life-changing heel turns. And then the NWO had a run, and they went worldwide. He had everybody in the NWO. Basketball players, football players, baseball, everybody was like Hogan had everybody all the time. There was even a clip from 1994 that my friend's dad, who's a news anchor down in Florida, they were doing a promo of at Disney World when they were opening up Tower of Terror, and they had the Hulkster on. I think they had like Lawrence Taylor and some other athletes there as well. All of them, none of them were wearing their sports gear. They were all wearing Hulkamania gear. He was it. He was it. WWE does not exist in any way, shape, or form without him. Who knows what would have happened? I'm telling you, Vince McMahon is sitting there thinking the same thing. Like, who knows what would have happened if Hulk Hogan didn't come in and revolutionize wrestling for people, for everybody. So it's sad to see that Hulk Hogan is gone because he shaped our childhoods. Now, I grew up, my main years of wrestling, enjoying wrestling, were the Attitude Era. Stone Cold, The Rock, D-Generation X, the Hardy Brothers, Hardy Boys. Is it Hardy Brothers, Hardy Boys? I don't know. They're always, on alcohol or on pots and stuff, getting in trouble, but they were electric. Undertaker started early on, but he went through. Shawn Michaels, all those guys. But I still watched Hulk when I was younger, when I could. He was still Hulk Hogan. Everybody knew. Everybody still knows him. My sister talks about Hulk Hogan. She doesn't watch wrestling. She doesn't know anything about wrestling. Everybody knows Hulk Hogan, the Hulkster, Hulkamania. Crusher and I tried to go find him and meet him at his Hulk Beach shop in Clearwater, Florida. We must have missed him that day, but we went to the shop, got some gear there. He was a worldwide name, not just nationwide. I can't stress that enough. You can go to any part of the world that has electricity and television, and they'll know who Hulk Hogan is. They'll know about Hulkamania. They'll know about the Hulkster. It's always running wild. Now, there is still controversy out there. There is still the other side of the coin here in Terry Bollea, the real guy. There's a lot of people out there who, you know, hate him. We're happy that he's gone. And obviously, I'm not one of them. He had a he had a spat years ago where there was, somebody recorded him going on a racist rant, and it was not good, and it was not appropriate, and it's not one of those. I will never condone that. I never listened to it or said, and then said, "Oh, it's okay." He let him go. No, no, no. You can't say that stuff and let it go. It was inappropriate. It was crass. It was insensitive. I don't the other, it was a racist rant. I never met the guy, so I'm not going to sit here and defend him or lambaste or vilify him for it. I just know that that particular thing was bad. Should not have done that. Should not have happened. So there's a lot of people out there who's, are happy he's a racist. I'm glad that piece of shit's dead, blah, blah, blah. I don't condone anybody being happy about human beings dying. I don't even like when enemies die. Like, unless you're a pedophile, terrorist, like evil doer like that. Otherwise, like, death is not something to really celebrate in the streets and parade around or whatever. But for those people who didn't like him, thought he was a racist, I understand the sentiment there, the feeling. Um, the people who were celebrating his death simply because he showed up to Donald Trump's campaign, like, shut up. That's what I don't like when people have to attach their political opinions to literally everything. And I know a lot of them are going to say, well, it's not because of that. It's because he was a racist. And you go ask them, and they don't know anything. Like, they couldn't even actually talk about the incident that happened back in the early 2000s when it happened. They're only saying that because that's what they're told to say. If anyone asks, it's because he's a racist. It's not because he was a Republican and voted for Trump. Now, they have to tie something else to it, and it's mostly, fat, mentally unhealthy white women that are doing that. So I have a problem with that. Like, because of who he voted for, you're happy somebody died. Like, you got to get help. You really got to get help. That's, he was not a perfect person. I'm not condoning any of the stuff he did. He cheated on his wife. He did have a shitty history as a human being, like a shitty stretch, if you will, of his problems. And a lot of them were publicly made because he's Hulk Hogan. Everything was under the spotlight, and he made a lot of stupid mistakes not thinking about that, not considering that. I'm talking about Hulk Hogan, the wrestler, the WWE superstar. He didn't murder anybody. If he was a murderer or a child toucher or predator, then it's like, for me, again, for me, it's a different story. Then it's like, I'm not, Hulk Hogan's dead to me. But it's not, he was not a great person. He made a lot of mistakes. He embellished a lot of stories. He told a lot of tall tales. he was troubled behind the curtain a little bit. Unfortunately for him, the curtain was always being open. He was Hulk Hogan. There was no Terry Bollea life and Hulk Hogan life. It was all the same. It was all Hulk Hogan. Unfortunately for him, I am celebrating the impact and the legacy of the wrestler, and I am not condoning the stuff the guy did in the personal life. To the LPDS community, it's Hulkamania. And that impact, like, you don't have to like the guy, but the impact he had on wrestling and my childhood and a lot of other people's childhood and upbringing, it was significant to say the least. Significant. So in that regard, it's a crushing blow to the LPDS universe. We're not going to SummerSlams. We're not going to WrestleManias. We're not going to, what are the other ones? Not SmackDown. I don't think I've ever been to a SmackDown or a Raw yet. I've been to a couple house shows with Bone Crusher. Maybe didn't go to a Royal Rumble yet. It was SummerSlam. The one that's Raw versus SmackDown. I forgot what that one's called. SummerSlam, Rumble, WrestleMania. Oh man, it's escaping me like Razor Ramon's name escaped me. We went to it a few years ago, right after COVID. We went. It was in Brooklyn. I got a towel. You can get a red towel or a blue towel for Raw or SmackDown. I think we got both. I only have the blue towel from SmackDown. I use it at the gym as my sweat towel. Survivor Series. Bang. Got it. We went to all of them. There's so many stories of the Crusher and myself and like experiences we had tied to wrestling. The WrestleMania at the Citrus Bowl with the chicken sticks and Shawn Michaels' sweet chin music to Ric Flair. The WrestleMania at the Georgia Dome where we were the only ones tailgating all day, doing nothing but drinking Bud Lights and Coors Lights and eating Chips Ahoys and cutting promos. There was the event in Vegas. I think that was a SummerSlam in Vegas. I can't remember fully. Survivor Series was in Brooklyn. We spent the whole few days prior to that on a pizza tour, a Pizza and Ninja Turtles like historical movie tour of New York City leading up to that event. It was all tied to wrestling. The LPDS, we cut promos for people. We were doing like free cameos as LPDS wrestling characters to send to people that requested it. You got all the videos on the LPDS Instagram page. That's still going on. I just haven't posted forever there. It's all tied to wrestling, and that's because of Hulk Hogan, the Hulkster. My poster of Stone Cold Steve Austin on my ceiling as a kid in the bedroom on my bunk. I had a bunk bed, so I was looking right up at it. My wrestling inflatable chair I had in my room with The Undertaker on it. All that is because Hulk Hogan created it. He paved the way. He built the empire as Hulkamania, as the Hulkster. And that's who we're remembering today. The Hulkster. So, rest in power to Hulk Hogan. We're going to miss him, but Hulkamania lives forever. It will always live forever. It'll always run wild. And that's all I got to say about that. Before we go, very quickly, the big three, the three pillars to staying strong and being a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being, and being able to spread that positivity and goodness to all those around you and throughout the land. Number one, exercise every day. Do one thing each and every day to improve your fitness, health, and wellness physically, mentally, or emotionally. Number two, don't be a shitty person. Be a kind person. Get out of the negativity. Even if you're passively scrolling on the internet and you see something on Instagram that gets you angry, don't respond to it. Take a deep breath, take the LPDS step back, and just remove yourself from the situation. You'll feel better about it, I promise you. Those negative feelings will go away and you won't spiral down even further. Number three, the most important one, be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives. You can do this by taking the time, one minute a day, to think about something good in your life and think about how your life would be without that thing. And that'll immediately put you in a state of gratitude. It takes a minute. And if you do all these three things a little bit each and every day, day in, day out, big three, big three, big three, I promise you, you'll become a better, happier, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being, be able to spread that positivity and goodness to all those around you throughout the land. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe and put your notification on. And tell your friends and enemies and hit that hotline 202-670-1114. If you want to give me some promos, you want to cut some promos, wrestling promos, feel free. We'll put it on here. We'll do a little review of your promo capabilities, see how good they are. Mine's not great. I still put them out there. I still have fun with it. Have fun with it. Cut a promo. Call it in, 202-670-1114. Thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.